All right, guys, we're going to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And we've talked about it on the podcast before, but I don't know, I'm just now realizing how powerful habits are, right? I don't think people realize how much of their day that they're completely on autopilot. We don't think about when we brush our teeth, right? We don't think about the way we drive to work. We don't think about putting our seatbelt on. We just do those things, right? And sometimes it can just kind of be numbing, right? We just go through the process. I don't know. Have you ever just driven somewhere and be like, I don't even really remember getting here, just because you're so routine, so used to doing that. And I think the same thing happens with a lot of our healthy habits, right? So we get, or I should, let me take that back. Not our healthy habits, but just some of our habits in general, right? So like you get home from work, and maybe you pour a glass of wine, then you sit on the couch, and then you grab a snack, and then you open up Instagram. We don't even think about doing that. I know that I've stood in line at the grocery store and I just reach into my pocket and pull out my phone for absolutely no reason other than
Mm.
I've just gotten in a habit of pulling out my phone. So it's just something that we've conditioned ourselves to do. And people beat themselves up all the time because they're like, you know what? Why do I keep doing this? Like, I know better, but if we've done the same thing over and over and over again, it just becomes so very difficult to stop.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to one of our clients the other day on this as well. We were looking at their evening specifically, and that's where they kept getting off track, and it wasn't that they were making this conscious decision to go and sabotage themselves, but it was that same habit cycle that you were mentioning. It's like they get home, shoes come off, they go to the kitchen, and go to the pantry, grab a snack, sit on the couch, watch TV every single night. It's just like what you do. That's how you unwind after a long day. And it had become such a routine that they weren't even making that decision anymore, and they were just following that same routine that they followed for years, and I think that's where people get frustrated because they think that they need more discipline, but in reality, it's just undoing those habits and, like, that practice that you've done thousands of times over the last years and decades of your life.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about some positives out of this, right? Because as powerful as a negative habit can be, is just as powerful as a positive habit can be. And so, learning how to create new habits that are positive and that are healthy habits can be such a game changer in our journey and our health journey. And so, talking about also how if we don't watch ourselves, I mean, and we'll get into this too, but I know sometimes like you and I are very routine with what we do. Sometimes we get stuck in the same thing over and over and over again. And it seems like it's a healthy thing, but then we condition ourselves to get stuck in something. And so we'll talk about all that, but I think it's gonna be an interesting conversation for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, and before we do, I wanted to we have our notes here, protein Doritos. That was for me this time, though. Because
No,
this is go
yeah, we gotta start with protein Doritos, right?
course. This was circling on Twitter the other week, and so I wanted to get your what do you think about protein Doritos? What are your initial thoughts?
Okay, so my initial thoughts are, I don't eat Doritos very often, but I do like Doritos. Like Cool Ranch was one of those, nice snacks when I was a kid. I used to love those. But then the first thing I saw, and I actually had a client that sent me a picture before I even saw it in the, I didn't, before I was even aware of it. She sent me, she said, "Hey, what do you think about these?" And I was like, "Protein Doritos? Are you kidding me?" I was like, yeah, there are some things that I'm super excited about that they're adding more protein to, but there's things like Doritos. Like, do we really need to add more protein to Doritos? And is that something that people are going to really enjoy? Like, is this just something that you just add protein? It takes away some of the taste. I don't know. I was not very enthusiastic to begin with, but before I tell you what I've learned about it, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
The suspense, I'm very intrigued. No, it's kind of insane, but I've never really had Doritos, like, I don't really eat much chips, yeah, I just feel like it's unnecessary. Like, it just goes to show that protein is all the craze now. It's like everyone's talking about, which is great. I love that everyone's trying to incorporate more protein into their diet, but then you just see all these companies, it's all marketing and they're just trying to make more money off of that. And so yeah, like protein Doritos. I didn't look at the macros of it. Like I'm sure there's not a significant amount, and I'm sure that the quality of protein is fairly low. So it's like it's still a junk food. It just like has a little bit more protein, or just is they're trying to market it to a certain type of person. So like if you want to eat Doritos, eat Doritos. Like it ain't that serious.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts too. So I've talked to a few people who've had it, and they've actually said it's pretty good. That it tastes good. Because that's my first thought. Okay, they're adding protein to it. It's probably going to take away from the taste. It's not going to be as good. People are going to be like, "Well, I don't like it as much, but at least I'm getting some protein." And then you got to have the conversation about, like you said, like if it's not that good, you're really not. It's probably like 10 grams of protein. It's really not that much. Is it really worth it? But if you don't take away that much of the taste, and you can add a few grams of protein, why not? But I don't know. I'm kind of the like in this case, if you like Doritos and you're gonna eat Doritos, might as well eat regular Doritos, what you love, type of thing. So yeah, but you're right. It's just everything you turn around now, and I tell you, I love the emphasis on protein, but it's just like every single thing. You're like, and it's funny because I was going through the grocery store the other day, and I like protein so much. You put a big sign on your box that says protein. I stop. I go, oh, they've added some protein to this. And then I was like, wait, why? Why do I care about that? They don't need protein in this. I can't remember what it was, but it was something ridiculous. I was like, I don't even know why I'm even looking at this. This is the dumbest thing ever. Whatever. So yeah, it's all.
Marketing, it's all the marketing, and they got you. Like at least like you stop and look at it, like it works.
Marketing definitely gets me, man. I get super hyped up about marketing stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I will say I have like tried the Quest protein chips in the past. I feel like they're pretty good. Like there's a lot of other companies that do protein chips already. So it's not like a new thing. I just thought it was funny. There's like Doritos because I don't know, it's like a well-known like junk food brand. So I'm just like the irony.
Yeah, there are. I've had a lot of those different brands of the chips, and they're okay. They're not my favorite. Like if I was gonna like, I do like chips. I don't eat that much except for on Taco Tuesday. I eat my fill of chips for sure for that one day. But I do like chips in general, and then I have those protein chips. I'm like, they don't taste the same. Like they're not, and so I'd rather have, even if I'm out, I'd rather have like a David bar or something and get a bunch of protein. It would taste better than having the protein chips type of thing. But you just have to try them out because there are some high protein items that are actually really good, and there's some that just don't taste great, and it's easy to get caught up in the market and be like, well, they are high protein, but they don't taste great. Well, there are a lot of things that taste good that have a lot of protein. Like, let's go for those things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people can get part of the marketing too is like it's high protein, but like what else are they adding in to like make it taste good? And a lot of people have like even with the David bars, it's funny that you brought that up because like I was talking to one of my clients about this 'cause he knows he's like, yeah, when I have more than one of them, it's like it causes a lot of digestive issues for me. And I'm like, well, it's a very good sign that you probably shouldn't be having one, even if you aren't like necessarily like seeing issues with that. It's like there's something in there that doesn't respond well. And it's like a lot of those things like have a lot of added stuff in there that just do not respond well for your body. And like they're just like trying to make up for that and like make it taste good. And like all the Pop Tarts and stuff with proteins, like probably just like if you want protein, like eat some chicken or eat some ground beef or something, like keep it simple.
Yeah. That's always the best way, but it is hard because there are sometimes, like I love my protein shakes, I love my protein coffee, and I've realized this myself as well as when I've had conversations with clients. Sometimes you have like one scoop or two scoops, you're good. You have a little bit more at once, all of a sudden you get some digestive issues. So you kind of have to experiment with your own body and figure out what works well for you and what doesn't. And there's always there's always kind of like that tipping point, right? Like this is enough, this is good. If I eat a little bit too much, then I don't enjoy it as much or I don't feel as good.
Speaking of that, I wanted to share a little bit about my journey too. I know in the past I talked a little bit about some of the health issues I'm dealing with, still going through that, but I was working with a coach of mine. I'm not going to get into too many details because I'm going to get really fired up about it, but like essentially, I believe that we were doing the wrong protocols. And it's tough when because, like, obviously he knows a lot more than me in a lot of areas, but I'm, like, very in tune with my body and, like, I'm obviously, like, know what I need to some extent. So, like, I was kinda having this battle of, like, okay, like, I'm hiring him and trusting him. And then also it's, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, is this really right? Is this what's best for me? And so ultimately I'm not working with him anymore. And, like, I'm starting my own reverse diet process because I think like, he just had me at such little calories for so long, and my goal right now is fat loss, and, like, my body was not responding for months. Like, I was at the same weight for months. No, even when we dropped food a little bit more, when I'm constantly at that same point, and we're just, like, adding in more training, all this stuff, and it reminds me, it's like, this is a lot of our exact target client that comes to us, like, in that position where they're like, "I'm putting in all this work, I'm doing the right things," and, like, I can say, like, I was doing the right things. I was tracking everything, all this, and my body was still not responding, and so I just wanted to like share a little bit about that. We're gonna do a whole episode on this, and I'm also doing like a little series on my social media as well, kind of like walking people through what I'm doing each week because, like I said, all of our clients that come to us, like they're going through this process of rebuilding their metabolism, getting their body in position where they're primed and ready to lose fat and make it easy because it should not be a freaking grind to try to lose fat. Like, truthfully, I'm 1 week into my reverse diet. And I was eating more, and my body fat, like, or my body weight dropped 5 pounds from eating more. Like, not all fat, but like, it just goes to show like how much my body needed that. And I'm like, okay, like that just reaffirmed to me. It's like, okay, like I do know like what I need to do. And it sucks when you like outsource to someone that like, you know, I felt like it dug me into a deeper hole, but I think it's just cool to see that process. And so I'm gonna document that more. We're gonna talk about it more on the podcast, but that's what I'm starting. Reverse diet, rebuilding back, and it should be fun.
Well, yeah, I'm really interested to hear how your progress goes too. And that's why I think a coach can be so important also on the good side of things, because if you just go on social media, there are a lot of generalities, right? Like calories in versus calories out type of thing. For the most part, that is very true. But then there's so many little details and factors that are involved in it. And so if you don't know what to look for, or you don't have anyone to communicate and bounce things off, say, hey, this is working for me, this is not, or why, or, and kind of be able to tweak and have someone on your team to work with you, then it can get very frustrating. And I see a lot of people get frustrated. Well, I've been doing this and it worked really well. And then all of a sudden it stopped. And they're like, what do I do now?
Mhm.
And everyone's very different. What worked for their friend, they're like, my friend might be like, oh, well, this is what I did, and it worked really well for them. But then you try the same thing and it doesn't work for you, and so it's just very difficult to figure out exactly what's the best for you, and you just kind of experiment and go from there. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I can't wait to hear what or to see your progress, hear about your progress.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I'm already feeling a lot better. Like, I know you could tell we were talking about this a little bit last week, but like, I'm definitely feeling better energy wise and recovery wise so far. Definitely not out of the woods, but like, you can already see those changes. So it's just like, yeah, already a good sign we're on the right track.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This is I guess it goes along with diet, stuff like that. But what I started watching last week is a Biggest Loser documentary. Have you seen
Mm,
that?
I have not. Of
Well,
course, I have not.
did you ever watch that show?
No, I think I've watched like I feel like I don't know where I've seen like probably bits and pieces from episodes, but I don't think I've ever like watched a full episode of it.
Okay. Well, I watched it when it first came out. I can't remember how many seasons. There was a bunch of seasons, but I loved it. I was really interested in it. It was like right around when I was training. And so I was very in tune with the fitness industry and I was really engaged with it. And I was really invested in watching these people lose all this weight. And it was so fun and rewarding to see these people lose so much weight. And you could tell that they're just, I mean, their lives changed and they felt so much happier and things like that. And then it came out like years later that they were doing the show in general, they're doing all these things that were just so unhealthy. And so I just watched that one episode, but the, yeah, the documentary is really interesting because it talks about everything. It talks about kind of like the good things about the show, some of the things that were just really dangerous, some of the things that they were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this," and then also some of the things that at that time we thought were good to help you lose weight that now we're like, you know what, that's not the right direction. So I'm gonna watch a few more episodes, or we're gonna have an episode discussing the Biggest Loser just in general and what we can learn from that as well. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Was this documentary a new thing that came out, or is it just something you discovered and were watching recently?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I think it's relatively new. I don't think it just came out. Like it might have been out for a little while, but I don't even know where I heard about it. But I was like, oh, I would be really interested in that, and so I just started watching it.
Gotcha. Speaking of movies, I know Odyssey is like a huge thing now. Have you seen that?
I have not. I have not heard a lot of good things from it. So
Really?
have you heard of good things?
I guess I don't know if it's been. I feel like I've just heard people talking about it. I don't know if it's like good or bad. I feel like there's some people that like it, some people that have some strong opinions about it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I've heard all kinds of different opinions, everything from political opinions to whatever, but historical opinions. But, I think I heard someone comment, they're like, "Oh, I really love, like, Greek mythology and Roman mythology and all that historical stuff," but they said it wasn't like it was a bad movie, it just wasn't very interesting. And,
Mm,
like, there's a lot of things they could it was kinda long, it was kinda slow, and that was coming from a person that supposedly really loved those kinda things.
yeah.
And it was just one viewpoint, but I've heard a couple other people say it wasn't great, so I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll watch it one day at home or something, check it out, but
Yeah.
really, do you if you're gonna start a movie, do you watch the entire thing, or have you ever just, like, left or stopped a movie?
Sir, I don't watch movies.
No, ever. So let's say you've watched 3 movies in your life. Did you watch the entire thing, or was ever one like, "This is kinda boring," and you stopped?
I honestly don't remember the last time I watched a movie. I couldn't
You
even
are the
tell you. That's
worst
how bad
person
it
to
is.
talk to about a movie.
I know, I'm horrible. Yeah, I really couldn't tell you. I don't have an answer. We were just talking about how bad my memory is too, so that doesn't help with this situation either.
Maybe you've watched hundreds of movies, so you just don't remember any of them. Well, the reason I
Not
was
in the last
asking Well, the reason I was asking is that there's some people that will say, "Oh, the movie was so bad, like I walked out of the theater, or I just stopped
mm,
watching it." And I don't know what it is. Like I want to watch the whole thing, even if it's like this isn't that great. I
mhm,
still want to see. Like even my daughters would be watching something on TV, and I'm like, "This is the dumbest movie I've ever seen in my life." But I kind of want to hang around in the background just to kind of see what happens at the end. And I don't know why. It's just like I just need that closure in the movie or something. But
mm,
it doesn't matter. It could be horrible. I want to see how it ends and be like, all right, well, yeah, that was a horrible movie. But then,
mm,
because you never know, like, what if it was good at the end, or what if the second
mhm,
half was great and it was just a slow beginning? I don't know. So I was
yeah.
just curious if you were saying, but apparently you
I
would
feel like
remember it anyway.
if I was to watch I don't know, like, I can see both sides of that. I think traditionally, I feel like I would be more in that same boat of, like, I just, like, stick through, like, I'm already here, like, might as well just, like, see it through 'cause you never know, like, what's gonna change. But I also feel like with where I'm at now in my life, like, I get so, like, since I never watch movies, like, because to me, I'm like, it just feels like a waste of time. If it wasn't, then I would definitely, like, get out, like, turn it off and walk out or something, just be like, I'm like, "No, I'm not wasting my time on that." So
Yeah.
I can see both sides.
I mean, I get that. I get that. But I don't know. I just feel like you're invested and you're like, you just got to
Yeah,
hear it out.
totally get that.
Talking about movies or like ball games, things like that, I feel like we kind of create habits during those too, right? Like a lot of people will go to a movie theater. Now, when I was a kid, like my parents never let us buy anything because they're like, that's so ridiculously expensive. You can't buy anything in the movie theater. But there's a lot of people they'll go and the first thing they do is they'll get a big thing of popcorn and they'll get some candy. And that's like, they'll call like tradition, but it's really like a habit. Like it's almost, and I totally get that. I'll go to a ball game now and they're like, okay, like I want to get a hot dog because it's like it's everything. It's the
Mhm,
environment, the smell, the people, and you just like you feel like you have to have that, right? And so, one thing that always comes to my mind when thinking about habits is James Clear, and he wrote that Atomic Habits, which is one of the best books ever about habits. So if you're interested in this, you want to read a good book, he has a phenomenal book, Atomic Habits, really good. But anyway, he talks about habit stacking. And that's one of the biggest things that I've taken from that book. It's basically when you link one behavior to another and it becomes very powerful. And when you do that, it's incredibly hard to separate them. I'll give you another personal example. Whenever I even think about Mexican food, like I want to have chips, I want to have guacamole, and I want to have margarita. It's like I almost cannot have any kind of Mexican food without having that. And so it's like Mexican food, I'm gonna have margarita. Like it's really bad. Actually, it's like I've created such a powerful habit stack that I can't get away from that. I mean, it would take a lot of work to be able to get away from that. So if we think about like when you get ready for bed, what most people do is they brush their teeth. You don't think about, oh, you know what? I should probably brush my teeth tonight before I go to bed. You just go upstairs, brush your teeth, and you go to bed, right? One habit triggers the next. And so you can do that for both unhealthy things. You can also make it very powerful for healthy habits as well.
mhm. Yeah, actually, on that line, we were kinda talking before this, we recorded about, like, me taking my supplements. I feel like that ties into this as well, and then there's another habit that I've been implementing too. I'm trying to work on being able to do more, like, pull-ups and push-ups, so I bought, like, a pull-up bar for my apartment, like, in my doorway, so, like, I literally will just go and habit stack that, like, throughout the day. I'm just gonna do, like, a couple reps throughout the day every single day. But it's like I habit stack that with certain things. It's like whenever I walk either into the bathroom or like in like or like do a certain thing, it's like I go and do that as well and like I stack it on. So there's definitely a ton of value to that.
Or who I guess however you want to say it, really good about habit stacking are dogs.
How
Like,
so?
I've noticed that a lot when, especially if you're very routine like I am, I will say certain things, move in a certain way, grab a certain thing. And my dog Dax, he is so intuitive. Like, he knows, like, I will make a comment or I'll make a move or I'll grab something. And he's like, boom, he knows exactly what I'm doing. Like, maybe we go upstairs
Mhm,
together and I do one thing, he's up the stairs. Like, I don't have to say a word. They're just so aware. But I was thinking about that. I've created a habit and he notices that. And so he knows it's very powerful. I do it every single time and he responds to it.
that's true. Yeah, that is a good point now that I think about it. And I think about this, like, with emotional eating too. At least for me, there was a season where every time I got overwhelmed, my brain immediately wanted food. I was not hungry. Like, I knew I wasn't hungry. I just wanted relief, and I think a lot of people can relate to that too. Like, we wanna just feel different, we wanna escape for a minute, and after doing that enough times, my brain basically learned that stress equals food, and so that became the habit, the pathway, and so everyone has their own version of that. Maybe it isn't food, or maybe it's, like you said, wine after work, or scrolling before bed, or ordering takeout every Friday, or grabbing something sweet every afternoon. Whatever it is, you've repeated that pathway so many times that it just feels automatic.
What I think about a lot of times when we talk about this is the word willpower. I get that a lot. A lot of people will say, well, I just need more willpower. Or they'll say, I don't have the willpower that you have or that this person has. And sometimes willpower helps, right? But it's like motivation, like, it's not very powerful. Habits are so more so more powerful, and I mean, life gets stressful, it gets chaotic, there's a lot of things that happen, you have a bad day, you get tired, and so what we do is we go back to what's very familiar to us, and a lot of times those are the habits that we've created.
Yeah, people think that they just need to stop eating at night. Nah, like, you need to figure out why you only feel like you can relax with food. Or if you say that you need to stop scrolling, okay, but, like, what are we actually avoiding at the root of it? Why is your phone the first thing that you reach for? Even like you were saying at the grocery store, it's like we all do that, like, so many times throughout the day. Like, any sort of free time, we just, like, we look at our phone, even though there's nothing to see on there. So it's like, what is the feeling underneath it? Because the habit usually isn't the problem, it's solving some kind of problem for you, even if it's just temporary.
Well, and I'll do that with a common habit is like biting your nails, right? And I am really bad about that. I bite my nails all the time, and people say, "Well, like, what? Or are you nervous about something?" Or and I'm like, "No, like I just do it. Like I can't even stop." Sometimes I've put my finger in my mouth to bite my nail, and then think, "What am I doing? Like, why? There's zero reason for me. It's just I just do it, right? And it becomes a habit. And so it's frustrating because a part of you is like, I just need to stop doing this. And you're like, why is this so hard for me to stop doing this? Just stop doing it. And then next thing you know, you're doing the same thing. And so you can't just like, it would be great if you're like, oh, I'm just going to remove a habit. Yeah, I'm done. I'm out. Right. And sometimes we have clients that do it, or you have friends that say, I'm just going to stop doing this. And sometimes they do, but it's very temporarily, right? Like, oh, hey, guess what? I didn't have a drink yesterday. Or hey, guess what? I didn't grab that donut at work yesterday, whatever. And a lot of you are like, woo, that's awesome. But then it's just really hard. Like we said, there's a lot of things that pop up that make it very difficult. So, one of the things is that they take it away, but they don't replace it with anything. Right. And so that's one thing. So, like, let's use like wine or beer. Like, a lot of people will have a glass of wine or they'll grab a beer after work. Right. A lot of people will have it and it starts off with, oh, I had a stressful day. And so they have a glass of wine. Right. And they feel a little bit better about it. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's like, I walk in the house, pour a glass of wine, and your body's like, boom, this makes me this little dopamine hit. Like, this is just my routine now. It's what I do every single time. Even if you're like, I don't need a glass of wine, you walk in the door, you grab a glass of wine, right? And so you can't just say, I'm just going to take it away today and expect your body and your mind to act like everything's good. Right. So you have to do something about it. Right. So, some of the things we talk about is come up with an idea. So let's say you're like, you know what? I'm really tired of having a glass of wine on automatic. Like one of the things I've talked to my clients about is if you want to drink, alcohol, like I want you to have a plan for it. I want you to feel like you're in control of it. And if you do, then hey, we're good. If it has control over you or it becomes like just an automatic habit, that's where I want to talk about seeing if we can replace it with something. So maybe that's, hey, you know what? Instead of having a drink, I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk. Or maybe it's, emotional eating. Every time, I sit down on the couch, I grab a bag of chips. Well, maybe you do some push-ups or you do some bodyweight squats or you get a big glass of water. There's a million things you could do. Make some tea. Just walk outside and breathe some fresh air. Whatever that may be, you've got to build kind of like, it's almost like you got to build like a new pathway, right? Otherwise, again, you rely on that willpower and it's not going to work.
Mhm. Yeah, or even it's like you said, to have, like, tea instead of wine. It's like replace it with something similar too, and then, like, you can slowly make better choices. Or, like, when we have people who, like, drink a ton of soda, but it's like maybe first try diet soda, and maybe, like, sparkling water, like, one of the healthier type of sodas. So it's like there's different substitutes too that you can do for that. Or even it's like you will if you wanna chew on something, it's like chew on gum instead.
Yeah. And we have to get away from the like, Well, yeah, well, Diet Coke has some additives to it or things like that that are so bad for you. Well, okay, well, would you rather have Coke that has tons of sugar or some chemicals that actually it's proven you have to drink a lot of those for it to really affect your body? Well, the Diet Coke's gonna be so much healthier for you. And down the road, if you want to talk about trying to get rid of it, great. But that is an easy fix. You still get that kind of like that satisfaction of having a drink without all those extra calories and sugar. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. How do we actually break this habit, right? So, we've talked about how it's difficult and why it's difficult. So if you're like, all right, this is totally me, and I'm willing to bet almost every single person listening to this has something where they're like, that would probably be a good thing if I got rid of this or change this up, right? So, yeah, and I think a lot of people think, okay, well, I got to completely reinvent everything about me to be able to do this, and really, it's not, right? We just need to do a couple adjustments to the routine.
Yeah, and that's usually the first mistake people make, and to your other point too, I was gonna say, like, I think every single person listening, like, has one of these things. I know I do, I have so many, like, we all do. It's just, like, maybe we aren't even aware of it too, so maybe this will, like, get you thinking of some of the habits that you have already.
Well, I just listed like the 10 that I do. I would probably just that I did today, not even talking about like throughout the week.
Right. I know, I'm thinking, like, as we keep going, some keep popping into my head too.
The good thing too is we realize this, but we're also not beating ourselves up over it. If it's something that we really truly want to change, then we're not going to look at it and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing all these things. Like, okay, well, this is something that I want to change. All right, what can I do to change it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people go in and they wanna replace their whole life overnight, or, like, "We're gonna take over everything," you, like, redo all the habits, and then, again, we wake up Monday and they're like, "I'm never scrolling again, I'm never eating sugar again, I'm never drinking again," like, we hear that so many times too, it's like, yes, it'd be great to go and do that and meal prep everything and work out 6 days a week, and yeah, maybe you do that for a day or 2, and then by Thursday, you're like, "Oh, I'm dead, I'm exhausted," and so, I think we have to stop thinking about breaking habits and start thinking about replacing them at one decision at a time. So one tool is to start noticing before you start changing, kind of like we were just talking about. Just notice, start being observant on what sort of habits you have, what things you're stacking together, when does it happen, what's happening right before it, how are you feeling when you're doing that habit? Because most people are so automatic, they don't even realize there's a pattern. Like I said, we didn't even think about this stuff until we started talking about it on this episode. Now we're like thinking about all these habits and things. So it's like every single afternoon at 3 o'clock, if you want chocolate, okay, like, did you eat enough protein at lunch? Did you sleep 6 hours? Did you work stress you out? Have that awareness on what's actually coming up and the patterns that are leading to that or whatever the deeper roots are. Awareness gives you something to actually work with. Because, like we said, so many clients eat at night when they're stressed or at night because they went all day without eating. So it's like that's an easy fix too. It's like sometimes it's just like what you're doing earlier in the day that's leading to that habit as well.
Yeah, that's such a great point. We got to realize what the triggers are, like you said. We figure out why am I doing this? What is happening before? Who am I around? Maybe it's a schedule. Maybe you had a certain routine or schedule and this worked out really well. And now, like, I'll give you an example. If that schedule where, okay, well, I want to have a protein bar at this time because I had a big length of time between like breakfast and lunch. But if my schedule changes the next year, maybe I don't need that protein bar. But because I've just entrenched that into all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, 10 o'clock, I have my protein bar. And you have to say, do I really need that right now? Like I knew I needed it last year, but it's not really working out for me this year. So being aware of that and just kind of going back and thinking about it. The next thing is you talked about the nevers, right? I'm never doing this. I'm never doing this. If we just try to eliminate things, that's a whole nother level. Some people can do that, but it's extremely difficult. And so it's a better plan to kind of try to interrupt that pattern, right? Instead of trying to eliminate. So, and we talk about consistency over and over and over again instead of perfection. And sometimes it's just interrupting that automatic behavior, right? So even if you still end up eating the snack, like if you think about like, what if before you did that, you drank some water, right? Like, so I'll give you an example, go back to that snack. Let's say at 8 o'clock at night, you grab a bag of chips, right? And that just becomes your automatic habit without even changing that. What if you did something right before and it kind of changes the routine just a little bit? So it kind of, your mind's like, oh, wait a minute. I usually get a bag of chips, but now I'm going to drink a water and it starts reestablishing the habit. Maybe before you know it, you stop drinking that or stop eating that bag of chips. Or like we said, take a 5-minute walk or even if you talk to yourself, I'll tell this to my clients a lot because it works really well for me if I talk out loud my decisions, and if someone's watching, I probably look like a crazy guy, but I'm like, okay, do you really need this snack? Like, why are you wanting this snack? And sometimes after my conversation with myself, I'm like, yes, I do. And I eat it, I feel great, right? But there's a lot of times like, I don't really need this. Like, I'm just doing this because I'm bored or whatever the case may be. And you kind of talk yourself out of it. At the very least, you give yourself some space and time to make a better decision. I mean, you make it more consciously. So I think that's a very different place than just operating totally on autopilot.
Mhm. I like that idea of to, like, talking it out just because a lot of times it's, like, so in our like, we just don't think about it, we don't spend a lot of time reflecting on it, so it's like, yeah, bringing that awareness to it, and then if you say it out loud, like, it becomes a lot more clear, and like you said, there's nothing wrong, it's like, if that's what you truly wanna do and it makes sense or, like, whatever it is, cool, but it's like, have that moment of reflecting and actually being aware conscious of what you're doing.
I'll do that a lot if I'm driving home at night, maybe after workout or something. I'm really hungry. And I'm like, you know what I haven't had in forever is like, a Whataburger or something like that. Right. And it sounds really good. It'd be easy. I could roll right in and the food's like right there and I know it tastes good. But then I'm like, okay, that'd be good. But like, do I have anything at home that would be good? Do I have better options? Do I have something that actually probably tastes a little bit better? It wouldn't be as expensive. Like I start talking about all these things and then almost every single time, like, I'm just gonna have something at home. Like I like what I'm gonna eat at home. So just talking to yourself sometimes makes some better decisions.
Like it. So another one is make the healthy option easier. I think you kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier with our environment, but if the cookies are sitting on the counter, you're probably going to eat one. If your phone is right beside your bed, you're probably going to scroll before you get into bed or while you're laying in bed before you fall asleep. If your protein is already cooked, you're probably going to eat that too. So stop making every decision reliant on motivation. Design your environment so that the decision becomes easier.
Yeah, my youngest daughter, she's a pretty good baker. And she enjoys doing it. And we found a recipe from just some influence or whatever, and it was a banana bread, but it was a little bit healthier option, add a little protein powder to it. And she tried it one time and it was delicious. And so she made it and my oldest daughter ate like half it. I ate like the other half. And my daughter was like, I made it so I could have it. It's all gone. I was like, Harper, if you make something that tastes good, Baylor and I are going to eat it. And so like you're either going to have to save some for yourself or we're going to eat it all because it's out here. So yeah, if it's in the house, it's going to be eaten. So like you said, design that environment, that you create it. And I've talked about that damn good type of thing. Let's just use banana bread. If you love banana bread, don't keep it in the house. And if you're craving it and you 100% want banana bread, willing to get in a car, drive somewhere to go get some banana bread you love, then go eat it and enjoy it. But if
Mhm.
you have to go through that whole entire process, most of the time you're like, all right, I really don't need it right now. I'll have it some other time. So I think that's a good way to look at it.
Mhm. Yeah, I even think about like my one of my things that I was trying to work on was like winding down after work and just like getting off of work. So it's like I set bound like I got app limits on my phone so that way it's like it shuts off at a certain time. I have alarms that go off. They're like, all right, stop work now, stop everything else now at this time. Then my app shut off. So it's like, okay, cool. Like this is like I make it easier. Otherwise, if it's there, like if I see the messages popping up, I'm naturally gonna be like, oh, I should answer this. Or like I want to get to that. I want to get ahead of tomorrow or whatever. But if it's not there, it's like I'm not going to do it.
There might be someone listening. They're like, okay, I hear what you guys are saying, but I have kids. We have these things. They like to have things. And like, I'm totally fine about not buying ice cream, for example, but my kids love it. And so we have it in the house. And so I can't really not have it in the house. So sometimes it's just like maybe you take that ice cream and you put it in a freezer in the garage. So it takes one extra step that you may not notice it right away, or you have to walk all the way out there type of thing. Just something to make it just a little bit more difficult or out of mind a little bit more can help you out with that. Another point is don't expect that new habit to feel amazing right away, right? Like I think like, oh, we're just going to switch something that we've been doing forever. It's going to be perfect. I'm going to feel amazing, right? And people sometimes get frustrated and they quit right away because they're like, it still feels hard. It's going to feel hard probably, right? It's going to be a challenge. And so the old habits, like what's that saying? Like old habits are hard to break. You've been doing it forever, right? So that new habit is not going to feel probably pretty comfortable because we haven't practiced it very long, and it's just like with anything. I get this a lot with mobility, right? A lot of clients have not been doing mobility. They'll start off like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Like I can barely do this. And I'm like, just practice it, just best range of motion you possibly can. And within a few weeks, they're like, oh, I'm starting to get a little bit better at this. I'm liking it more. I'm enjoying it more. That's because they keep practicing it. They're treating it like a skill and they're getting better and better. So it's the same type of thing with the habits. You're going to have to stick with it for a little bit, have some patience. And eventually you'll get used to it and you'll start enjoying it more.
Yeah, like, we're very habitual creatures, like, we like what's comfortable, we like what we know, and so, like you said, if we've done these habits for years and decades, even subconsciously, like, it feels comfortable, feels good, and so anything out of the ordinary, it's gonna feel like something's missing or, like, what's going on? So it's like, give your body a chance, and I really think what you said earlier about stacking the habits, like, that I think that's been the most powerful for me. It's like every time, even without thinking, it's like I just stack it on with something else. My therapist, like, we were working on me appreciating like there's two versions of me, like this high performing version and then this version of me that needs to like rest and recover and then have that grace. So it's like I have after a period of work, we're stacking on where it's like I express gratitude for that high performing version of me. And I do a little ritual and I stack that on after my work day and then like, going into like my wind down for the night or whatever. So it's like it's stacking that stuff. I feel like it's so beneficial.
Yeah, 100% for me too. The habit stacking is the most powerful, the best way. And what I like to do and tell people, one, I do it myself. If I ever want to establish a habit, is you find something that you already do all the time. Like brushing the teeth is a great example, and because it's something that we all should be doing. But majority of people brush their teeth every day, right? However, there's a lot of things you can't habit stack with brushing your teeth because we either do it like in the morning and at night. We don't usually do it like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon type of thing. But there's a lot of things that we do throughout the day that you say, okay, you know what? I do this every day about this time. You talked about your supplements. I want to start taking a supplement or I have some medication I want to take. Okay, every time I feed the dog, I'm going to grab my supplements or whatever it may be, something that you know you do every single day. And pretty soon it's just boom, boom. You just do it without even thinking about it. And that habit stacking, I think, is awesome way of establishing a new habit.
Thing I'll add to that I've been doing for myself that kind of goes along with the environment. But, like, sometimes I'll put sticky notes, like, if it's a new habit I'm trying to add in, like, there is one where I'm, like, trying to do breath work before I eat every meal or making sure that I have, like, some lemon water and more, so it's like I literally have a sticky note, like, put it on my mirror, put it on my fridge just to remind me, especially in the beginning stages, just to, like so I don't forget. Because there are some times where I mess up and I forget it, and I'm like, "Oh, shit," like, so then I have that reminder there, and then, like, once you get into the habit, it's easier to maintain it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so talk about when you do mess up because there's, especially in the beginning, I do that a lot. I'll forget a day or I'll forget a couple of days and like, I get. So how do you respond to that?
Yeah, like, we're all gonna do that, like, we're all gonna mess up or forget stuff, especially when it's a new habit or, getting rid of old habits that have been there for decades. You're gonna fall back into them, that's okay. We all do, our clients still do, it's fine. The difference is that we don't let one of those mistakes or slips become 3 weeks, like, we don't let it compound. You always hear that, saying of, like, "Don't miss twice." So it's like, "Alright, cool, if you miss once, like, get back on it the next day or, like, right after." You don't need to restart, you don't need to, like, go like, just if you ate a bad meal, like, you don't need to go and blow the whole weekend or the whole week, whatever it is, it's like, just make the right next decision, that's it, just get back on track.
Yeah, actually, and I don't know the exact quote, but there's actually another James Clear quote where he says something like, "You miss once and it's a simple mistake. You miss twice, it becomes a habit." Right? So
Mhm.
that's the same type of thing. You're like, okay, you missed once, no big deal. But you need to make sure the next time you do it because you're right. If you miss once, okay, twice, even then, all right, not a big deal. You start missing 3 or 4 times in a row, this has become the new habit, right? And
Mhm.
so, yeah, so you don't want to beat yourself up, or we're going to make mistakes. Even if I've done things where like every day for 100 days, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, that 101st day, I miss something. It's going to happen, but you just want to get right back into it. The same thing with you miss a workout or you have a bad day eating. All right, reset, boom, move on. Let's hit it the next day.
Such a good point, like, you're letting that become a habit, that's so good.
All right. So what we see in coaching a lot is people often think, okay, we're just coaching macros or we're just coaching workouts. A lot of what we're doing is we're coaching lifestyle, right? And a lot of that was included is the habit. So we're helping people who's always skip breakfast, maybe build a new morning routine, or we're helping people who's emotionally eating. We're going to have some more episodes on this in the future. Maybe they've been emotionally eating for like years on years. We're going to help them to learn how to respond differently to the stressors, or we're going to help that person who said, okay, I'm restarting on Monday. I'm going to do whatever. Realize that they don't have to start over every single week just because they had pizza on a Friday night or something like that, right? So, but change takes time, and it takes a lot of work. We're not just changing what you eat; we're changing basically how what you've taught your brain to do year after year after year. What we want you to take away from this episode is that one, we want you to stop beating yourself up. Change is extremely hard. It's supposed to feel hard. It's going to be hard. You're literally, as the kids like to say, right? You're literally trying to undo years, sometimes decades of conditioning. So give yourself some grace, be patient, keep repeating the new behavior. We're establishing a new one, habit stack that eventually it's not going to feel forced anymore. It's just going to be something that we do every day and you're going to be pretty excited about it. People are going to be like, oh, wow, look at this habit that you have. And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. Just like that old habit once was, you're going to create that new habit.
Yeah. So if this episode resonated with you, send it to someone who's saying, I know what to do, I just can't stick with it. Because chances are they don't have a motivation problem, it's a habit problem. And if you get value from our podcast, we do really appreciate you guys sharing, subscribing, sending it to a friend, writing a review, whatever you want to do. It helps us a ton. And if one of the habits you're trying to build is eating more protein and making eating healthy easier, we got you covered on that. We're eliminating all the excuses there. We put together 10 ways to get 50 grams of protein in under 10 minutes. So we will link that in the show notes and get your protein. And we will catch you guys on the next one.